Hello, friend. I'm Hope, and I'm really glad you're here today. Welcome to English with Hope, a calm space for your mind and your heart. In this channel, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to rush. Here, we learn English slowly. We listen to English gently. No pressure, no stress. And here, you are not alone. Wherever you are in the world, I'm right here with you. So relax your shoulders, take a slow breath, and let's begin. We often do things simply because we have always done them. We wake up at the same hour. We walk down the exact same street. We solve a daily problem using the same steps we learned years ago. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. Our minds love patterns because patterns save energy. When we follow a familiar routine, we do not have to think very hard. We can just move through our morning on automatic pilot. Over time, those comfortable patterns turn into invisible walls. We sit at our desks feeling stuck, wondering why everything feels repetitive. We want a fresh result, but we keep using the exact same old tools. Thinking outside the box sounds like a big, complicated term. People often make it sound like a rare gift reserved only for artists or inventors. They say you need to be dramatic or radically different. The truth is much simpler. Thinking outside the box is not about forcing giant, wild ideas. It is simply noticing the quiet rules you gave yourself and noticing that many of them are completely imaginary. When you step back, fresh options appear right on your table. Today, we can take a moment to look at our daily choices with fresh eyes and simple clarity. By spending this quiet time with me today, you are stepping away from the daily rush. You are giving your mind permission to stop running on automatic pilot for a little while. It is rare to take a pause just to reflect on how we think and how we approach our days. Today, we are not going to talk about abstract theories or complex philosophies. We are going to look at the very real, practical choices you face every single day. We will explore why our minds naturally hold on to old habits, even when those habits no longer work for us. You will see how easy it is to drop rigid expectations without creating any chaos in your life. We will break down simple ways to question unwritten rules, both at work and in your daily routine. You will learn how to reduce the mental pressure of trying to find one perfect answer. Instead, you will start noticing small, creative alternatives that make your everyday tasks feel lighter and more engaging. As a non-native speaker practicing your English, listening slowly like this helps your brain in two ways. You build confidence with vocabulary while simultaneously creating a calmer mindset. You do not need to change your entire lifestyle or rewrite your routine overnight. You only need a tiny bit of everyday curiosity. Think of this conversation as a safe, quiet space to organize your thoughts and breathe. There is no test at the end of this episode, and there is no right or wrong way to reflect. You can simply listen, relax, and take whatever insight feels helpful to you right now. Let us take a slow, calm breath together, in and out. Feel your shoulders settle down as you release any leftover tension from your day. let us walk forward into a simple sharing from my own daily life. I want to share a simple experience from a few months ago. I was feeling completely stuck while trying to organize my weekly recording schedule. My desk was covered with notebooks, pens, and paper planners. I had downloaded a popular time management worksheet online. It had strict boxes for every hour of the morning and afternoon. It had columns for goals, priority levels, and daily notes. I spent almost 2 hours trying to fit my project ideas into those neat little boxes. My neck was stiff, and my mind felt exhausted. I kept telling myself, this is how organized people work. I must follow this format. I was trying to follow a strict system that didn't fit my natural way of working. I made up rules for myself that no one else had created for me. I built a rigid wall around my own planning process. So, I stood up from my desk. I put down the colorful pens and walked away from the printed worksheets. I grabbed a plain blue pen, one simple index card, and walked over to sit near the window. I didn't draw any lines or columns. I wrote down just 3 plain sentences about what I wanted to talk about in my next recording. No forced schedules, no color coding, just simple, direct words on paper. Within 5 minutes, my plan for the whole week was totally clear. The heavy feeling of being stuck disappeared. That afternoon showed me something important. The issue was not that I ran out of good ideas. The issue was that I trapped myself inside a complicated system just because I thought I was supposed to use it. When I set down those unnecessary rules, the solution became obvious. That same straightforward clarity is always there for you. 2. Whenever you decide to question a rule you don't actually need. Why do we follow invisible rules in our daily routine? Every day, we follow hundreds of unwritten rules without ever stopping to ask who created them. We choose the same path to work. We organize our desks the exact same way. We write emails using the same polite, predictable phrases every time. Most of these choices are not actual laws or strict regulations. They are simply habits we built over time because they felt safe and easy. When we repeat an action many times, our brains turn it into an automatic habit. This is a helpful design feature of human nature. If we had to decide every single step of making coffee or tying our shoes, we would feel exhausted by 9 in the morning. So, our minds build invisible boundaries to save mental energy. We create a personal box made of daily expectations, small fears, and familiar patterns. However, problems begin when we forget that we built the box ourselves. We treat our custom routines as if they are permanent facts that cannot be changed. When we face a new problem at work or in our personal life, we immediately look inside our old toolbox. If the old tool does not fix the new problem, we feel trapped and stressed. We tell ourselves, I don't know what to do. In reality, the issue is not a lack of options. The issue is that we are searching for answers inside an old wall of habits. Albert Einstein once noted this exact pattern in human thinking when he said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." This classic insight reminds us that a situation will not change if our approach stays identical. To find a fresh result, we do not need to rewrite our entire lives. We only need to notice one invisible rule we are following out of habit and step past it. Every time you notice a small routine rule and try a slightly different approach, you stretch your mind. You prove to yourself that your daily life is far more flexible than it appears. The moment you realize the rules were imaginary, fresh possibilities naturally open up before you. What happens when we question our basic assumptions? An assumption is a belief we accept as true without checking the facts first. We make assumptions every single day. We assume a project must take 3 days because it always took 3 days in the past. We assume a friend is upset because they sent a very short text message. We assume we cannot learn a new skill because we tried once years ago and failed. Assumptions act like blinders on a horse. They keep us focused straight ahead, but they block us from seeing what is happening right next to us. When you do not question your assumptions, you miss simple shortcuts that are sitting in plain sight. You spend extra time and effort doing things the hard way simply because that was how you were taught to think outside the box. You only need to ask one simple question: is this actually true? When you face a difficult task, pause for a moment. Ask yourself if the task really needs to be done in 5 steps, or if 2 steps are enough. Ask if you really need to send another long email, or if a quick 2-minute conversation would solve it better. Questioning your assumptions is not about arguing or being difficult. It is about saving your energy for things that truly matter. When you start questioning quiet assumptions, the world around you suddenly becomes much wider. You notice that problems which seemed large and heavy are actually quite small once you remove unnecessary steps. You give yourself the space to breathe and choose a cleaner, simpler path forward. Every assumption you drop lightens your daily load. You no longer have to carry heavy, outdated expectations that do not serve your present life. Instead, you move through your day with clarity, adaptability, and quiet ease. How does the fear of looking silly keep us in old habits? One of the main reasons we stay inside comfortable mental boxes is the fear of looking unusual or silly to other people. From the time we are young, we are taught to follow directions, fit in, and avoid making obvious mistakes. Doing things differently feels risky to our human need for safety. We worry that if we try an unconventional idea, people might judge us or think we do not know what we are doing. Because of this worry, we often choose the average solution instead of the creative one. We stay quiet in meetings even when we have a unique perspective to offer. We copy how everyone else formats their presentations, schedules their workdays, or manages their homes. We trade our creative freedom for the safety of fitting into the crowd. The reality is that most people are far too busy managing their own lives and worries to judge yours. They are focused on their own daily routines, their own tasks, and their own stress. When someone sees you try a fresh, simple solution, they rarely judge you. More often than not, they feel inspired by your willingness to try something different. When you let go of the need to perform perfectly for others, a huge weight drops off your shoulders. You realize that making a small mistake while trying a fresh idea is not a disaster. It is simply useful feedback that helps you learn and adapt. Stepping out of the line takes a tiny bit of courage, but the freedom it brings is well worth it. You start living and thinking on your own terms rather than relying on automatic social habits. You step into a state of quiet confidence where your unique ideas are welcomed, appreciated, and put to good use. How can gentle curiosity replace the pressure to be right? Many of us grow up believing that every problem has exactly one correct answer. We treat our tasks like math problems in school, searching frantically for the single right key. This creates a lot of internal pressure and anxiety. When we are afraid of picking the wrong option, our minds freeze up, making original thinking impossible. Curiosity is the direct cure for this performance pressure. When you approach a problem with curiosity instead of pressure, you stop asking, "What is the absolute correct answer?" Instead, you gently ask, "What would happen if I tried this small experiment?" This subtle shift in language instantly changes how your brain responds. Experimenting removes the fear of failure. If an experiment does not work out, you have not failed at all. You have simply gathered useful information. You can calmly adjust your steps and try another angle without feeling disappointed in yourself. Curiosity makes work feel lighter, interesting, and far less stressful. Think of how young children explore their surroundings when they play. They do not worry about following standard instructions or making perfect choices. They build, test, rearrange, and play purely to see what happens next. You can bring that exact same playful curiosity into your adult work and daily choices. When you stop demanding perfection from yourself, original ideas naturally flow into your thinking. You enjoy the process of solving daily puzzles, and your mind stays open, relaxed, and creative. What if original thinking is just stepping back into simplicity? We often make the mistake of assuming that creative solutions must be complex and complicated. We think that to solve a big challenge, we need to invent a massive system or add 5 extra steps to our process. We try to layer more software, more rules, and more schedules on top of an already busy day. In reality, thinking outside the box is almost always an act of subtraction, not addition. It is about stripping away the extra noise, removing unnecessary steps, and returning to simple basics. The most elegant ideas are usually the simplest ones. They are the solutions that make you say, "Why didn't I think of that earlier?" When your mind feels crowded with complicated thoughts, forcing yourself to think harder rarely helps. It is like trying to see the bottom of a lake while stirring up the mud with a stick. To see clearly, you must stop stirring, step back, and let the water settle naturally. Simplicity brings immediate peace to your mind. When you remove the extra clutter from your expectations, the best path forward presents itself clearly. You do not need to be a genius to think outside the box. You simply need to remove the artificial complexity you added. Original thinking is already a natural part of who you are as a human being. It is the quiet, clear insight that emerges when you stop rushing and allow yourself to look at things as they truly are. By practicing this simple approach, you reclaim your mental clarity every day. You navigate life with a calm, flexible mindset that easily adapts to whatever comes your way. To bring these ideas into your real life, you do not need to make huge, dramatic lifestyle changes. You only need simple, practical moments that gently interrupt your automatic routines. Here are 3 easy micro-habits you can weave into your daily routine starting today. The first habit is called the route swap. Choose one small task you do on complete automatic pilot every single day. It could be the path you take when walking to the bus stop, the way you make your morning coffee, or the order in which you open your emails. Intentionally alter that routine in a very small way. Take a slightly different street. Pour your tea before opening your laptop. Sit in a different chair during your lunch break. This simple physical change acts like a quiet alarm clock for your mind. It pulls your brain out of automatic pilot and awakens your natural observation skills. By changing a tiny physical habit, you remind yourself that options exist everywhere around you. The second habit is the simple why. Pause. Whenever you feel stuck or frustrated by a repetitive task, at work or at home, pause for 10 seconds. Ask yourself one straightforward question. Why do I do it this way? Listen closely to your inner answer. If your answer is, because I've always done it this way, or because everyone else does, you have just found an invisible rule. You do not need to fix the entire problem immediately. Simply noticing that you are following an unwritten rule creates immediate mental space. Once you identify the imaginary boundary, you can choose to keep it or gently step past it. The third habit is the blank page moment. When facing a complicated decision or an overwhelming project, put away your structured templates, spreadsheets, and pre-made checklists. Take a completely blank piece of paper and a single pen. Do not draw any lines, margins, or organized categories. Write down 3 simple, direct sentences about the core issue, or draw a quick diagram of what you want to achieve. Giving your thoughts an unguided, open space allows your brain to make surprising connections. These 3 micro habits require almost no extra time or effort. They do not create any stress in your daily routine. Instead, they serve as gentle, daily invitations to keep your thinking flexible, clear, and open to new possibilities. Today, we traveled together through the simple landscape of human habits and creative thought. We explored how our minds naturally build routines to save energy and protect us. We noticed how easy it is for those comfortable patterns to become invisible walls that keep us feeling stuck. We remembered that thinking outside the box is not about forcing giant, wild ideas or being perfect. It is simply noticing the quiet assumptions we carry and having the gentle courage to ask if they are still serving us. It is setting down complicated planners, dropping the fear of looking silly, and replacing performance pressure with light curiosity. You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight to experience fresh mental clarity. Growth is not a forced sprint. It is a steady, gentle walk. Every time you take a different street, question an old habit, or write on a blank page, you step into greater freedom. Your mind is naturally flexible, creative, and clear. Whenever you feel trapped by routine or overwhelmed by options, remember that the box was created by your own habits, and you are always free to step outside of it. Trust your own simple wisdom, move at your own pace, and enjoy the space you create for yourself today. And if you found this lesson meaningful, I'd be deeply thankful if you subscribed and left a like. Not because of the numbers, but because each act of support helps these stories and lessons find their way to someone who might need them today. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for being part of this growing community. Your presence here means more than you know. Goodbye for now, friend.